I think it's important to give a broader view of sort of some of the material that Falun Gong practitioners are actually disseminating both inside and outside of China now through this network, this 40 million Falun Gong practitioner network in China. So again, it started just about kind of debunking the lies of the propaganda of the CCP. But then it kind of grew, and now you have about 6 types of information that Falun Gong practitioners are disseminating. The first is the lies, as I said. Second is a book we'll talk about called The 9 Commentaries in the Chinese Communist Party, which relates to the Tuidong Quit Chinese Communist Party movement, which is very important, which talks about kind of the history of the CCP. It actually gives Chinese people the real history of the CCP and all the evil things they've done. Third is how to jump the firewall. So Falun Gong practitioners actually created the couple different types of software to break through the Great Firewall. And it's the #1 software used, not only just by CCP, it was used in Arab Spring for Chinese citizens to actually find out real information from the West. Obviously not just about the persecution of Falun Gong, but about anything that the CCP is lying about. The fourth is actually COVID information, which isn't necessarily about Falun Gong, but both getting information out about COVID, like one of the earliest reports about Feng Bing in China, getting the COVID information, what's really going on in Wuhan, or information within China about they're lying to you or these lockdowns or these different things. The fifth is human rights documentation. So a lot of the information Ming Hui, for instance, gets from on-the-ground sources in China helps solidify things like Amy Yu's mother's case is a good example. Obviously that one's easily traceable. It's Amy Yu, then her father calls. But a lot of times these are like kind of undercover. Practitioners can't know their identities, but they're finding out was there a death and tracing it and figuring out, and reporting that back to the West. A lot of the lists that, for instance, our organization will provide to the government of who's responsible for organ harvesting or torture, those lists are coming from those networks. So they're doing that. And then the last, Falun Gong practitioners letting the Chinese people know actually how the CCP is being viewed by governments internationally. So the international sanctions that are happening, we talked about recently on the show, maybe some of the laws that are being passed, because the CCP is obviously posturing to Chinese people, kind of everyone thinks we're great, and that's obviously not true. So it's all this information that the Chinese people have no access to.